Hello, wonderful people. It's another lovely Saturday. Always an exciting moment with Pastor. 1 hour dedicated to answering all your questions on any topic. If you are watching this video right now and you've not sent your questions, please hurry up and send your questions. You could leave it as a comment under this video you're seeing, and we are going to be addressing all your questions immediately. Please invite your loved ones. Share this video you're seeing. If you need to tag your friends, tag your friends. It's going to be a wonderful time. We already have some exciting questions you might be interested in. It's going to be a life-transforming moment with Pastor. I don't know if you are aware that Pastor does his morning broadcast every day, twice every day. If you are not aware of that, please go directly to Pastor's page now. It's Pastor Sunday at Pastor Sunday Adelaja. The name is Dr. Sunday Adelaja on the page. Like the page and subscribe for notifications. On the page, you're going to see the adverts for all the time for people from different parts of the world, as we have a little difference in time now, so that you can be following Pastor and sharing in every wonderful teaching Pastor is bringing our way. It's been an awesome time this week for those who have been following, and it's been, will I say, a revolution? It's been life transforming. The teachings has been wonderful. So you want to keep up with that teaching. If you are not following Pastor on his YouTube page, please hurry up and subscribe now. It's Sunday Adelaja Official. Subscribe to that YouTube page and you'll be having all our videos. If also you are not following Pastor on his blog, please subscribe to that blog. It's sundayadelajablog.com. So make sure you keep up with Pastor on all of these social medias, and you are going to be blessed with wonderful teachings. On Pastor's blog, you have over 700 messages, both videos and audios, articles that will transform your life. It's a blog like no other. So, make a date with destiny. Let's move on to our show for today. And don't forget, it's going to be an awesome time. Like I will always say, be open-minded, because your theology might be shaken, but at the end of the day, if you're open-minded, you're going to be greatly blessed. So, tighten your seatbelts and let's move on to Pastor. Good evening, Pastor.
Welcome.
How are you doing?
Well, trying my best.
Nice suit.
Thank you. Yeah, I like your color too.
Wow, so how's the week been, Pastor?
We finished the HMT
Right.
this week, and people headed home. I think it was Thursday that the last batch of people left.
Yeah.
And so just continue doing what I normally do. Continue doing my work, continue doing my job. You know, the daily broadcast, you mentioned it, right. Morning and evening. You said it's been exciting. I wonder which part of it. I think I personally have been more, I think it should be a blessing to the people watching us to discover some of the physical differences in men and women, right, and why we must take care of the ladies. Okay. I'm always talking about that.
Yeah, talking about that, it's like you're very passionate about women.
Yes.
And why is that? Why that particular group of people?
Because I got married,
right,
and I discovered how fragile women are through marriage.
Okay.
I thought we were the same before, but before I got married, I started reading about it, but that was theory. But when we married, I began to see, you know, a lot of different details that I never even knew existed before in the man's world.
Wow.
And I think, do people know this? I don't think people really know this, because in the public, before you marry a woman, you don't see a detailed life of her weaknesses and the challenges she faces, because you don't live with her. Even if you live in the same vicinity, in the same house, you know, a woman keeps stuff to herself. But when you marry her and she sees that you are very protective and you could be trusted, she opens up more to you, and you know more of her life if you are attentive as well. So the more you get to know about the daily challenges of the lady, you know, I'm just shocked that because what we see every day are just, I'm talking as men now, what we see just beautiful faces, beautiful hairstyles, beautiful dresses, and beautiful makeups. And we think they never have any challenge. And that is the only thing that women have. And so that was a shock to me. And then that was one level. Then another level was when I witnessed the birth of our last child.
Okay. That means you didn't witness the first and second?
Yeah, because the hospitals here were not allowing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, but in America was where we gave birth to the third one.
Child, yeah.
And I was present. And I said that was the end. We were planning to have 5 children. But I said, we are going to take all others from the, from orphanage or something, yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Because I feel a man should be the one taking the greater responsibility.
Okay.
But the real thing that I see on ground is that the women are the ones bearing all the pain and the responsibility. So I think men should consciously do things to relieve them.
Wow, that's interesting. And there's really been it's been emotional to some extent, and some men have been reacting, some don't really agree with that and everything. So what do you have to say to the men that don't really see from the perspective you're seeing, or probably think you're too fragile, will I say fragile, or probably you're too lenient with the women, or probably you're going to spoil their wives or something? I think that might be some concern to some men too.
But also some women, I'm not, I say things that I think are right.
Okay.
And I don't care if people are offended or not, or what their response are. I have some people who are really very close to me, who are watching me also, who are on the platform, who are women and also left.
Yeah.
And the reason they left is because one day I spoke about what I heard, a discussion I heard that women are calling men dogs.
Okay.
And I mentioned that, I preached on that. And because the statement was,
all men are dogs, is it that?
all men are dogs, but this man, who is an accomplished man, who is a very successful man, and this person was saying that he's a stupid man, useless man, and the only thing he can do, he's just a dog, but the only thing he can do is to pay school fees. So I'm saying, okay, if he's a useless man and a dog, why do you take the school fees from him? The only thing he can do is to pay for school fees. He can do something. Then why call him a useless man? If he's useless, let's agree that he's totally useless. Right. But if he's doing something, at least respect him for that. And they said no, because he has women, a mistress or something. So because of that, that's why. So I said, so anyway, we had a long talk about that. So women say, oh, Pastor Sunday is supporting the men now. And they got annoyed.
I see. Okay.
So some things I say annoy the men.
And some things annoy the women. Anyway, at the end of the day, the truth still has to be told. So let's be open-minded and, to new ideas. That's just the way we can learn and grow.
But I'm helping the two of them.
Yeah.
I'm helping both the men and the women. Yeah. Even when I'm talking about the women, I'm still helping the men, because they will have better understanding in the homes. They will have more peace in the house. I think I'm helping the men. Actually,
because if a woman is happy with a man and she's comfortable, definitely the home is going to be a more comfortable atmosphere for the man too.
I'm just surprised. Why is it that it is the women that are grateful, that are expressing gratitude? I thought the men are supposed to be excited mostly.
It's not like that, because they have to do the work. Anyway.
If you are more interested in the success of your
marriage, I see.
If that is your primary goal, you have to do. You need to do what you need to do to have that peace and that harmony.
Oh, thank you so much for your time you invest in all those teachings and being so persistent.
Yeah. By the way, they said we have hit 500 uninterpreted broadcast, live broadcast.
Wow.
So Facebook wrote me a letter.
Wow.
To congratulate me. that were 500 uninterpreted broadcasts. One of the few people who have done that in the world. And that if you are going to be talking about Sunday preaching, of pastoral preaching on Sunday, that's like Dr. Shorunke calculated it. That's going to be like 9.5 years of church preaching.
Wow.
So what we did in 6 months or 7 months is actually 9.5 years of preaching if it's converted to Sunday services.
Wow.
So we put 9.5 years.
In 6 months,
In 6
that's
months.
a hard work right there and persistence. Well done, Pastor. We are learning. Okay, we are going to kick into the show for today. The first question I'm starting with is an interesting one. And it says, reading through the Bible, I was made to understand that in the beginning, God created one man and one woman. And today we have billions of people in the world, all from Adam and Eve. My question now is, from our understanding of the Bible, sir, talk to me about incest and why was it okay for Adam and his children and generation lived in incest?
First of all, the person that is asking this question about incest, why are you feeling jealous for Abraham and Eve? Why are you envying them, Adam and Eve? Why are you envying Adam and Eve? So you are now comparing yourself to Adam and Eve that didn't have any population around them, and they only had to make do with what they had that time. And you are now comparing yourself. We are in the world now, you have billions of people. And you are now saying, oh, okay, they could marry their sisters, and I cannot marry my own sister now. What is your point? You have billions now. That time there was no human being at all. So why should you be envious of Adam and Eve? Why should that even question cross your mind? Are you in love with your sister or with your daughter? So that's the first thing I would like to say about it. The second thing I would like to say about that is that, first of all, a lot of people say that that is a fad and that the Bible is fake just on the basis of that story. That if Adam and Eve only gave birth to 2 sons, that is what the most people know about the account of the Old Testament, the Genesis account. They had 2 sons, Cain and Abel.
Yes.
Okay, one killed the other. Right. So where does the rest of the human race come from? That is the first question that people ask in that regard, and they are challenged by that. And they are saying, how can, if one killed the other, where are the rest of the people coming from? How did we come? There were no other human races.
Right.
Well, there is an answer to that.
Right.
And I would like us to read the Bible.
Okay.
I will get to the question the other guy asking about incest, but
Yeah.
let's start from where we're supposed to start.
Okay.
Let's read the book of Genesis, chapter 5, verse 3 and 4.
Okay, it says, and Adam lived 130 years and begot a son in his own likeness.
Adam lived 130 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And begat a son in his own likeness, after his image, and called his name Seth.
So you say after
Cain
and Abel,
right.
and whatever happened to them, we are now seeing that Adam gave birth to another son when he was 130 years old.
Right.
Keep on reading, please.
Okay.
So there is another possibility for an offspring there.
Right.
But it was a boy. So,
Yeah.
so how can 2 boys have
Yeah.
regeneration? Let's keep on reading.
Okay, verse 4 says, and the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years, and he begat sons and daughters.
Okay, so he lived another 800 years.
Right.
After he had given birth to Seth. So now, at 130, he gave birth to Seth.
Right.
He lived another 800 years, and 800 years, right?
Yes.
And in the 800 years is a long time.
Right.
You know, if you have children, even now at 40,
Right.
in the next 20, 30 years, even 100 years, you already have many opportunities.
Yeah.
So, and that's what the Bible is saying. He lives not just to be another, he didn't just live another 100 years.
Yeah.
So we are going to say, how did they succeed in growing up and all that? They had 800 years. I mean, in 800 years, we could have a whole generation, a whole country giving birth to in 800 years.
Yeah.
800 years, in fact, Nigeria as my country is just 60 years.
Yeah.
That's nothing. And we're already like 200 million people.
Right.
Now, that is because we already have people there. But in 800 years, it's a lot of years. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like, that is like more than America is as a whole continent. America is just like less than 300 years.
Yeah.
But we are talking about 800 years here. Mm-hmm. So we are talking of centuries. So these people were living centuries. So over the centuries, he was giving birth.
Yeah.
So people, so because he had many children, we said he
gave birth to sons and daughters.
Sons and daughters, countless. So he gave birth to many. So many of them have grown up to be able to become over generations to be able to now multiply. Mm-hmm. That is how we all came about. Mm-hmm. Now somebody is asking, but that should be incest. Okay. Because who are they marrying if it was giving birth to sons and daughters? So even though they were growing up, but they were now marrying each other. Yes, but that was the only way. Right. They could multiply that time. So there is even no question here. But it later, because of the time they were living, mm-hmm. they were looking for centuries. This is not just for decades. Right. They were looking for living centuries. So the adaptation of the body was much more better, and it could make it work for them to marry each other. But today, we are only living 100. We are even not living 100 years. We are just living a short time. So when cases of incest happen, it brings about mutilation and some form of deformation in the children because the blood system is not capitulating properly, and that's why people it's prohibited in the Bible, and even medically it's prohibited. Because when people give birth to, they have incest and they have children as a result, because they don't have that gap, that grace of centuries, the blood mixes up and they give birth to deformed children or, disabled children and things like that. So it is now like an abomination to do that. Wow. So it's not a topic that we should be going into.
Wow. That's interesting. I didn't have all these details. By the way, kudos to this person for even thinking out of the box. Wow. That's interesting. So, I think...
Because you just believe the Bible.
Yes.
And that's all. But some people are there trying to criticize and find fault from the Bible and all that.
Interesting.
And some people have been tempted by their relatives.
Sin of incest and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what advice will you give to someone who is in love with, maybe let's say a cousin, a brother or sister? I think I've heard a case of a father and a daughter in love.
Yeah, they should go and see a psychiatrist. They are having a mental disorder cases. Okay. Yeah.
So you don't think...
Or it might be a spiritual case of spiritual manipulation, demonic oppression.
Wow. And you don't think outside psychological issues there could be genuine love between, sexual love between father and daughter?
That is crazy. There is just no way it can happen. It is absolute perversion, and it is crazy for anybody to even think in that sense.
Wow. So if you're the one that asked that question, I believe you've gotten more than you requested. So the second question is, my ministry will involve me sharing personal stories and experiences I have had. How much do you think should be shared if, for example, the other people involved are alive and we possibly come across this information?
Yeah, you don't need to mention their names. You can share your story without making the identity of other people known.
Okay.
Yeah.
What this person is interested in is the situation whereby it's not about mentioning the person's name. It's more like, for instance, if something happened between two people, you know what happened, I know what happened, and I'm going to say my story, but not calling your name. Definitely you're going to know I'm talking about you or this particular case that happened. So that's what the person is concerned
That is happening every day. We're all doing that every day.
Okay.
All of us are doing that every day. You went to school with somebody, you are appearing, they recognize you. You went to hospital with somebody, you are appearing, they recognize you. You ate with somebody in the restaurant, you are talking, they recognize you. There's no problem about that.
But when the situation or the case involved is something that might be derogatory, or the other person wouldn't want it heard, or probably the other person might be hurt by it.
But why nobody is involved as long as the person's identity is not disclosed?
But the person somehow knows.
The person would know, yes. Even either the person, you are talking about it loud, or you are not talking about it, the person knows anyway.
Okay.
The most important thing is that the person is not. It's just like saying, I stand up here, I say, and I mentioned it the other day, that I've had 20 girlfriends. And this is what some people took and ran away with it. But this was before Christ.
Yeah.
And I now began to talk about this, and one of them is listening to me now. What's the problem? It happened, and she knows that she was in an affair with me or something, and I was, but she knew it before I said it. I'm saying it. There are 7 billion people in the world. Why she should be concerned about that?
Okay.
I don't see the connection. As long as the person's name is not being mentioned, it's not being described in a way that people could guess who we're talking about, why? I don't see no problem at all. Okay. The only thing is if the person's identity is being identified or mentioned.
Okay, and what if the person picks an offense or pick a quarrel for you, using that story as an example?
The person doesn't have an argument. He doesn't have a case. What is the case?
So which simply...
It means the person then has to come out and say, you have been talking about me, which is not me who said that, you said that yourself.
I see. All right, so in other words, this person shouldn't be concerned of what the other person is going to think.
You are telling your
as
own
long
story.
As the person's name is not mentioned, there is no identity.
Yeah, you are not
disclosure.
pointing to the person, yeah.
Excellent. So if you're the one that asked that question, that shouldn't bother you. Tell your story in such a way you don't mention anybody or give reasons for people to be able to trace who you're talking about. Okay, this person says, good day, Pastor. Can you explain how to effectively study the word? Some tips. Thank you so much. God bless you, my baby.
Many things to talk about. I will just give you a few thoughts. Number one, look at the Bible as a book let me say it this way. Look at the Bible not as a religious book.
Okay.
Look at the Bible as a mirror. When you look at the mirror, you see yourself.
Right.
You see yourself the way you really are, not how you think you are without the mirror in your mind. When you see yourself in that mirror, you see what is on you. You see how your hair is standing. You see your face. You see your eyes. You see everything that's wrong with you. In the opposite of what you might have thought before the mirror came. Look at the Bible that way. Look at it not to study Bible as a book or as a religious something. Always, just like you check a mirror to correct yourself, to fix yourself, to make yourself look better. That is how you should read the Bible. Look at the Bible, read stories, see how people behave, see how you would have behaved in that situation, see what God likes, see if you are doing those things God likes. If you are not doing those things God likes, begin to do them. See what God doesn't like in the Bible as you are reading those stories, and see if you are doing some of those things God doesn't like. Use that to correct yourself and say, oh, God doesn't like this, so I will not do it again. See if there are good examples. Look to aspire to copy those examples. Just look at the Bible as a mirror. That will improve your life.
Beautiful, Pastor, but is there some particular pages or pattern you advise a person to read about? Let's say probably a young believer Old Testament, New Testament, is there some preferences or how you categorize the person reading the Bible, what book to start from for better understanding?
When I started as a young believer, I started reading the book of John.
Okay.
Then Proverbs,
Okay.
Psalms. Maybe that could be helpful.
Okay,
some
so
people.
maybe the Gospels first, or probably the book of John, then the
I
Gospels.
tried to read the Gospels first, but
Okay.
I ran into trouble with Matthew and the Sermon of the Mount. On
Okay.
the Mount. If you are a young believer, you don't want to go in there in the beginning. You don't want to begin to find out how to be blessed are the poor in heart and spirit, and how the humble, all those things. Those things are too difficult for you. Or put on your left, and those are all in the Beatitudes. You don't want a young believer to go into that. I will leave out the the Gospel. I will just talk about John.
Okay, John. Then after John,
I spoke about Proverbs.
Proverbs and Psalms. Interesting. That's interesting, Pastor. This person is saying, Pastor, please, how can a Christian brother get a good wife? Because many so-called born-again, devoted sisters in church are looking for money and well-to-do brothers or men.
This person that is asking that question has not been watching my programs.
Of course.
It's clear that person has not been following my daily broadcast.
It's crystal clear.
And the person has not been watching my Sunday Adelaja blog video, .com video. Mm-hmm. And of course, he has not been following my YouTube Sunday Adelaja official. So let him go and look for my videos and my daily broadcasts. What are my thoughts and teachings in that regard?
Okay, but is there some brief tips you can give to him? Because he is not saying now how to treat a woman. He is saying how to get a wife, because the women in church, in quotes, are materialistic.
Yes, I did a whole series. One of the series says what a man must know
Before he gets married. He should go
before approaches.
Okay. Okay. I tried helping you.
I think it's number 19, series number 19 or 20.
Okay. I tried helping you, but I think Pastor has a better offer and better help for you. So go to Pastor's blog. It's SundayAdelajablog.com and check his video vlog. Check the series, What a Man Must Know Before He Gets Married. And that will give you a perfect, more detailed answer to your question. Okay, this person is saying, dear Pastor, my question is about relocating and following you to transform Nigeria. I've had a vision of going back to Nigeria to do this, but it seemed too huge to accomplish. But listening to you on the Facebook Live broadcast tells me you can do it, but as a human being, still at my level of faith and reasoning, I would like to ask some questions. Where is the money coming from? That is question 1. Question 2, what's the interest of the founders of Sunday Adelaja Trust? Question 3, if I locate with my family, who will meet our needs in Nigeria? Question 4, do supporters have to be Christians? Question 5, do we have to be there on ground to execute projects? Question 6, if I choose to follow you alone, how would I take care of my family here? Question 7, can I have a link to all the information required? I will send other questions as the need arises.
The problem of this person that is asking this question is that the person didn't do his own work.
Okay.
And the person just heard me saying some things on Facebook Live without following through.
Right.
Because even in that Facebook Live, we gave information that they could go to my blog and get more information. And what the person needs to do now, I would like, because so many questions there, And all those questions, we already provided the answer. There is, if you go to SundayAdelajablog, one word, .com/Nigeria, go to that page. You will first of all see, the application. Then we have to redo that place because the question and answer, you don't immediately see question and answer. But if you look properly and go down, you will see question and answer. I think we need to do a banner, just for question and answer on Nigeria so that people will see it easily. We have all those questions that this person has asked now. We have them on Q&A. It's not even written question and answer on the blog. It's written Q&A about but we will make it bigger and a banner so that everybody could easily see it. And he will be able to see all his questions there. And if there are some things that he cannot get answers to, he should write to me at pastor@godembassy.org.
Okay.
Igor, nada do panide
If you're the one that asked that question, Pastor is saying, please go to his blog, SundayAdelajablog.com/questions you've asked. Answers have been given to it. But as you check there, if you still have some other questions or some other concerns, then write Pastor directly to his email, pastor@godembassy.org. And Pastor will be answering you directly, and all your doubts and questions will be answered on the personal basis. Then this person is saying, interesting, who owns the world?
By the world, this person is talking about planet Earth, or the person is talking about the universe?
The universe.
The universe consists of 9 planets.
Right.
500 million galaxies. 500 million. And in each galaxies, we have stars.
Right.
Maybe 5 billion stars. And stars are like planets.
Okay.
In each of these 500 million galaxies.
Wow.
And one galaxy is bigger than the Earth, maybe 1 million times, 500 million times. So the universe is something enormously beyond our comprehension. We are so little and so minute and so insignificant that even if you put the whole human race so that all of us will become doctors and professors of medicine, we will still not be able to create a human being.
Right.
We will still not even be able to heal all sicknesses, talk less of create a human being. We are not talking of creating ocean and all of that things. So we are so far behind.
Right.
And to say who owns the earth or who owns the world, not even the earth, but your world, is a question that you are not interested in the answer. It's a question that either could be asked by a kid or is being asked by somebody that is just wandering, thoughts wandering up and down and just doesn't want to do with his thoughts. So the only logical answer is that the owner of the world, the owner of the universe, the author of the universe is the one that owns it, and that is God.
Great. So if you're the one that asked that question, the owner of the world is God. Now, this person is saying, hi, Pastor. Thank you for your positive influence and impact. Okay. Sorry for that. Hi, Pastor. Thank you for your positive influence and impact in the entire globe, especially Africa. You are indeed a role model to millions of people, including me. Through your books, audio messages, and visuals, however, I want to know what you think Nigeria should do to remedy the hardships inflicted on Nigeria through the current government, which you advocated for, and because of you, the majority from the Christian community followed suit during the campaign.
So, what is he trying to say?
Well, you advocated for the present government, and now there is hardship in Nigeria, that you should give a remedy for the hardship, since it is because of you advocating. That was why other Christians followed suit and voted in the present president.
Okay, since the person who is asking this question, and is not the only one, there are many more like that who hold on to that opinion. Since the person is bold enough to accuse me and this present government of the present hardship that is in Nigeria, I will allow myself to be bold enough to give the person a straight and direct answer.
Okay.
Okay. From my assessment of this person who is asking this question, I don't need to know the person. I don't even need to know the name. And I don't need to have met the person to give the correct assessment of this person.
Should I read the question again?
No.
Okay.
I remember.
Okay.
And that's why on the basis of his question,
right.
I want to give an analysis and an assessment of who this person is.
Okay.
This person that is saying that it is this present government that has brought such hardship upon Nigerians and Nigeria. And this person that is saying all those who advocated for this present government are also culprits in the hardship that Nigerians are experiencing. Listen closely, not just to this person who is talking like this, but any other person that is thinking like that. But this is my assessment of them. Number one, anybody who is saying that must be either ignorant and illiterate, or maybe it's not ignorant and not illiterate, but is unsincere and not innocent, the person doesn't have integrity.
Okay.
Because if you just do analysis of the reasons for the current economic problems and challenges in Nigeria, you will discover that this economic crisis actually started before this new government. But the whole thing that is going on right now is it's not this new government that is there just for less than 2 years that has caused it, or maybe 2 years. They have not succeeded in creating the problem. The problem had been created over the years before they came. So they are just trying to manage and come out of the problems that has been created by the previous economic problems, economic policies that were there. Our number one problem, the number one cause of the problem is that when Nigeria had abundance of oil, when oil was selling for like $100 a barrel, during the previous government, that is almost all through the tenure of the previous government, that was how much oil we were having. In fact, we were having at the time, it was even selling for $140 per barrel. So now, let's say it's averagely 100 during the time of the previous government. When we were having $100 per barrel, what the government did, the previous government did, was that they were just fleecing the whole money. We were supposed to have done what? We were supposed to have invested at least 30% or 20% or even 10% of that money. But Nigeria were just using, they spend the whole money without investing it. Worse than that, before that, when the government of Obasanjo left, they left Nigeria with 65 billion, almost 65 billion
in the reserve?
In the reserves. But by the time despite the fact that we were having so much money from oil, but even the reserve, they were spending all that money from oil. But even the reserve, they almost looted the reserve while they were there with all the abundance. So the people who started the reserve, both the internal reserve and the external reserve, the people who put their hope in that that reserve was supposed to support us because they know, but people like Obasanjo and they knew that the reserves are needed so that when there is money now, so that when things become hard, we will need to fall back on the reserve. But this one just went and splundered it. But what they were supposed to have done is to have used that abundance of money coming in from the oil to increase the reserve rather. But they depleted it. Instead of the reserve growing from 60 to 100 billion or 200 billion, it was left with only about 30 billion by the time the new government came. More than that, it was just reported now that all the other revenue creating agencies or gathering agencies that were in Nigeria, before this new government came, they were sending all the, let's say the government makes, let's say, 1 million.
Right.
Out of 1 million, 90% of it, 90% of, I mean, this, we are not talking about millions, we are talking about billions. All the agencies that make money for Nigeria during the previous government, they were just scattering and distributing and just sharing among themselves 90% of the income the country makes. They will only leave 10% in the government. They will only send 10% to the government coffers. But 90%, it just disappears among their relatives and their friends and everything like that. So that is the kind of government we had. So now that the price of oil is drastically dropped, and this person that is talking about economic leadership is not saying, if he's sincere, if he's a person of conscience, he should be telling us that when the previous government was there, was selling oil for $100, and now it's about $40. Even it was less, than for. So our revenue and income has decreased 3 times. So where do we take something from? I mean, our standard of living was supposed to have decreased 3 times also. But the fact that the government is still struggling and doing a lot, yes, our standard of living has decreased, but not 3 times, but 50%. So 2 times, we could say. But so they are still struggling to keep us above the waters. It could be worse. So that's why I say either this person doesn't have conscience, or he's not thinking. He's not a thinking person. He's not calculating. He's not looking at objective reasons. Those are just 2 or 3 reasons I've given. Next point. People in the government, a lot of people in the previous government were absolutely responsible with money. Look at all the people, almost everybody in the PDP government, the ministers and the government, the chieftains, all of them were just enjoying. Most of them now are being sued for, are being under the watch of EFCC now. Because if the money that was put aside to buy war weapons that will fight insurgency, Boko Haram, was being, divided and shared among the chieftains. And this is at the time when 200 of our children, the girls, this is the money they were supposed to use to go and get them back. And this same government that this person is advocating for was sitting down there when they were sharing it all. Maybe even with the consent of the leadership of that government. And now he has conscience to be saying it's these ones that are to blame. More so, even not to make things worse, apart from all that, this person who is talking about economic hardship is not telling us that despite the fact that the price of oil has decreased 3 times, let me tell you something that is worse. Nigeria was producing, just under normal circumstances, during the previous government and now, let's say 2 million barrels in the average. It varies. 2 million barrels a day. But these same people who were ousted from the previous government, the PDP government and other oppositions who did not support this present government, you know what they have done? With the money that they looted, they went to hire the same Niger Delta militants that had been said to. Government is paying them on one hand. They are getting the governor of the government, and the other people who have lost out, they are giving some of them some money to go and be bombing the oil installments of the government. So instead of us now producing 2 million barrels, we are reduced to less than 1 million barrels. So if we have been making, let's say, 1 billion, we cannot even make 100 billion. We cannot even make half of it anymore. Our sales and our production of oil has reduced. like to 40%, by 40% or 60% even, just by militants bombing the installations and all. So how can the government produce money or revamp the economy or bring money to the economy when the people who are against the government are, just, stopping sabotaging the economy? And it's not the government who is suffering, but they want the government they want people to suffer so that the people will now begin to complain like him, because people don't think, people are masses. They will not tell you that people just know that the things are expensive. That's what they don't know. They don't want to analyze. They don't want to know the reason why, what is behind it. And people like him who are not thinking will begin to make noise and say, oh, it's the Buhari government, Buhari government, Buhari government. And that is because, Hitler said something. Hitler said that how fortunate rulers, government people are, government rulers or government people are. You know why they are fortunate?
No.
How fortunate they are, government is that the masses don't think. And that is so true of Nigeria. The people who are not the government now, but the people who are in government before, all those people who are manipulating them, how fortunate the elite are, because that the masses don't think. So because of those, and some of these people are even Christians.
That's right.
They don't even use their brain at all. They are just swallowing everything that people tell them that is true. So, this person that is talking, that's why I say either the person doesn't think, or the person, doesn't have character. Maybe he knows all these things and he will still not. He doesn't have character enough to even think. For example, that is another reason. Let me give you another reason. Normally, a country grows when the country uses the money it makes to invest in what they call capital expenditures, capital expenditures, to build infrastructure, roads, industries, businesses, to build capital generating businesses, things that could allow you to generate more money. So now let's look at Nigeria. Nigeria will make, let's say, foreign currency will make, let's say, 1 billion. But it could be more than that, of course, but every year. So let's say that is the totality of our income, 1 billion. You know what Nigeria was doing before this government? They will use 90% of it just to share, to pay salary, and to just distribute among themselves. And they will only spend about 5 to 10% or so for capital development. Everything they just share, eat them. And just shop. So that is the kind of thing that the Nigerian people are like. Because now we have it now.
Yeah.
Let's just shop now.
Sharing in the national moi.
The national cake. Let's just share the thing right now. Why are you not sharing? So there's no more sharing. So people get annoyed and agitated. Why are you not sharing? We can't say anything again. What's happening? You are a bad government. So, so people are not thinking in terms of the future. People are not thinking in terms of building, in terms of construction, in terms of constructing the nation. And it's only capital expenses that can do that. So this government have now said, no, we are not going to just be sharing anything. Even the little that is now left, that is coming, out of that little, they have increased it from 5% capital to 10% capital to 30% capital. They are still using 70% to pay salary and do all those other things. But they want to quickly, until Nigeria increases expenses and expenses up to 70% capital, we cannot talk about being developed.
Right.
Because that is what brings about development. But these people, they are not saying that in less than 2 years, these people have been able to cut all those distribution centers. They have been able to reduce it by 30%. And 30% now is going into capital investment. That is the kind of thing they should be praising the country for, because we cannot see that right now. But that is building the country already for the future. But people like this don't even think. They will not even be able to recognize that kind of thing. For example, let's say for roads and infrastructure before, for all the infrastructure for like the last 10 years of Nigerian government, let's say that they only put 1 million naira, no naira or dollars for road and building. This government now, they have increased that 30 times.
Wow.
What is that saying? We are going to be building for the future.
Right.
But these people will be making noise. They would rather have it now. Let's share. We don't see road. What's going on road? They are the ones who become. So you know what I'm saying. So that's why I'm saying this person that has asked this question, either the person is not sincere, or is not objective, or the person doesn't think.
Just think. Wow.
Those are just little arguments.
That's a detailed answer to your question. I believe other people will learn from that too, and you got your answer. All right, Pastor. This person is saying, "Dear Pastor Sunday, good morning, and thank you for opening unto us God's mind. You have spoken so much about how we have become so religious with the way we do church in Nigeria. What should the ideal church be in terms of activities? How many times in a week should people be in church? How long should that be? What of church office staff? Kindly advise." Thank you.
I would advise the person to study the way, or to begin to listen to some of the live broadcasts I do, especially the testimonies that have come from our members every Saturday and every Sunday. But I will try and give quick answer to some of those questions, but I will need them to be,
Restated.
Yeah, one by one.
Okay. The person said, what should the ideal church be in terms of activities? That's the first.
The ideal church is supposed to be about training and raising up members to discover who they are, their callings, and to help launch them into those spheres of influence. Okay.
The second one, how many times in a week should people be in church?
I would not say how many times people should be in a week, but church activities should be set up in such a way that it will not hamper or hinder church members from pursuing their dreams out of the four walls of the church. So, for example, if I am called into the world of business, or I'm called into the world of medicine, and I'm supposed to be pursuing my dream and subduing the land over there, I should not be invited to the church when I'm doing operation, or when I'm supposed to be looking after, doing my own, thing that are directly related to my own, area of calling. I might be going back to church once a week or twice a week just to strengthen myself. The church should be directed to favor and benefit the members so that they will be strengthened and equipped each time they come, rather than being used to just service the church instead of servicing their own calling.
Great. Then the last one is, what of church office staff?
Okay, if you are church office staff, it has to be the same thing like any office staff wherever you work. You have to be working 8 hours a day.
Great. If you're the person that asked that question, I believe you got your answer. Then this person is saying, good evening, I have a question. What if you know that your friend or even a stranger is being cheated on? Would it be your responsibility to tell the person who is affected, or should you ignore it because it is none of your business?
Anything you are saying in a family other than yours might have more stories behind it than what you are saying.
Okay.
So if you go and poke your nose in there, even the person you think that you are helping could turn on you and make you to be the one to be blamed for it. They will say you are now the one tearing down their family. So if God knows about it, pray that God will find the time. You might even be talking about the thing that is right, but it might be at the wrong time, according to God. So why should you be what I've discovered is this. In the Old Testament, when children of Israel went astray and did wrong things, God will always use other nations to rebuke them and to correct them. and it will, use Cyrus, it will use Babylonians, it will use, Amalekites and all that. But even the Egyptians. But after using all those people to correct his children, to chastise the children of Israel, then God comes back and punishes those nations.
It's true.
So me, I will I would rather leave the thing up to God for God to himself act rather than me. I shouldn't be in the place of God.
That's even true. I've been thinking of that, Pastor. Why does God do that?
Because every one of us is called to face his own business, first of all.
Yes.
In this kingdom, it's a personal walk. It's your own walk with God. I should not preoccupy myself with another person's sin.
Yes.
My preoccupation should be my own sin or my own life. If I'm going to be looking at how you are sinning or you are not sinning, it means that I'm making myself judge. I automatically become proud. Arrogance takes over me. When I begin to point out what this one is not doing, it means that I am saying, on the other hand, that I am all right. And there is no one that is all right in this. Right. As long as you are in this planet Earth, you are still not all right. So what God wants to teach us is that work on yourself. Pursue your own salvation with fear and trembling. Your own, not the word of. Yeah, let God convict them.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm.
You could speak the truth. You could, speak the word of God, but let the word of God convince people, not you.
Okay. Now, this person is asking, if you're the person that asked that question, I believe you got your answer. This person is saying, I have never understood Genesis 6:1-2, where sons of God marry the daughters of men. Who are the sons of God, and where are they from? I don't know if you got the question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a question. There are a lot of theological questions and arguments and explanations about that.
Yeah.
I think that is not affecting my own life anyhow. If it's affecting your life, then keep on looking for the answer. But my own, it's not affecting it. So we have not even bothered myself with it at all.
Okay. All right. This person is saying, hello, we hear a lot of rumors in the Netherlands about you and women. What is true? I was 4 times in your church in the past and pastored for 10 years after you prophesied it over me.
You believe what you see. You've been to our church. You know me. Believe what you see rather than believe rumors.
Okay. The 3rd commandment says, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless who takes his name in vain. Exodus 27. Could you please elaborate on the meaning of this sentence?
That is one of the commandments, one of the 10 commandments in the Old Testament. I think it basically means don't use God in vain. Don't play with God. Don't trivialize God. Don't trivialize the idea of God, his name, his identity, his integrity. Have honor towards God. That's the way I will understand it.
Okay. So the last question our time or before we go is, how would you know if your partner is faithful to you or not?
The most important thing is for you to be faithful to him or to her. Okay. It's very simple. It's similar to what we spoke about right now about, people being concerned about other people's life or not. The way I would advise, if you want to, because you are married to somebody is your husband or your wife, right, and you want to make it your full-time job to be finding out if they are faithful or not, or whatever they are doing right or they are doing wrong. You are into a long journey. You are into a long haul. Yeah. It's not going to be pleasant. You are always going to be wounded. Because even if they are not doing anything, Satan will set up some things and will make you to know, to think that some things are wrong or some things are doing wrong. So face your own personal walk with God and make sure that you are also faithful in your own walk with that partner, with that person. Just do your own part. And if you are going to be running after how the other person is doing his part or not, and you say, we're in covenant, that is the beginning of death. It's killing yourself slowly.
Wow, Great, Pastor. Thank you so much for this wonderful 1 hour with you. It's been an exciting moment.
It went so fast today.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I want to use this opportunity to thank all our YouTube subscribers. News getting to me is that we've hit 2,000 subscribers on Pastor's page.
What do you mean, 2,000?
Your YouTube page. We have 2,000 subscribers now. So I want to thank all our viewers and friends that have subscribed to Pastor's YouTube page. And if you have not subscribed to Pastor's YouTube page, please hurry up and do so. The page is Sunday Adelaja Official. Immediately after the section you're seeing, don't be in a haste to go. We are going to be running into the Facebook Live session with Pastor. Today is Saturday when practical sessions are being brought. You want to join us to know how you can take every sphere of influence for God in your generation, in your nation, and in your different communities. Thank you so much, Pastor, for this wonderful time. And thank you, viewers, for being with us. We are going to be coming your way again, same time, on Saturday next week. I was your presenter for today, Dr. Bien Sufficient. Bye. Till we'll see you again.